Hi everyone, my name is Mike. Welcome to the channel. In today's video, we're going to be going over 3 different exercises that are designed to help you reduce your knee pain quickly and effectively. Now, a quick disclaimer, these exercises are designed to be educational in nature only. Please check with a trusted health professional in your area to see if any of these exercises are right for you, or if they cause you any pain. Again, check with a trusted health professional in your area to get the best advice specifically tailored to your circumstances. Now, before we get into the exercises, it is important to go over just briefly how pain works, how our brain understands pain, how our knee joint communicates with the brain to tell us about pain. And so to understand how these exercises are actually helping us and for you to get a better understanding of the purpose behind what we're doing today. So there's 2 different types of pain that are important to understand. Okay, the first type is called nociceptive pain. This is pain where the brain, the nerves that run down to the joint, the nerves in the joint are communicating that there is actually some damage in that area. So this could be a ligament or a hurt muscle in the area, and there's some inflammation there or some damage. And so the nerves in that area are telling the brain that something is wrong. This is one type of pain, okay? The second type of pain though, and what we see more commonly, especially in older populations, is there may be a little bit of damage or a little bit of inflammation in the area. But often what the brain has gotten used to is that communication of pain from the joint over time. And then the body has actually taken care of the damage that caused the pain initially, but there's still this pathway going from the joint all the way up through to the brain. And the brain thinks that there's pain there when there isn't actually the same proportionate amount of damage to necessitate that pain feeling that we're experiencing, okay? So in some ways, the brain is creating its own memory of what that pain should be, even if there isn't actually damage there. The other part of the pain system that's important to understand and kind of correlate is that pain can also be a protective mechanism that the brain uses to prevent us from what it perceives us doing to cause more damage, even if there's not really any danger there. Another part of that system in terms of joint stability, joint strength, is that the brain takes information from our vision center, our balance center, which is found in the inner ear, and then the actual receptors in the knee joint itself in terms of where the joint is in space, how strong it is, how easily it's moving. The brain takes all of that information and puts it together and makes a decision. And sometimes pain can be a warning signal, even if it's not justified, that the brain is trying to protect itself. So when we're doing exercises here today that are training our vision system, our balance system, as well as the knee joint and areas around it, we are actually contributing to helping our brain understand that it is safe to move, it is safe to do certain activities. And when we do that and train it in a safe, controlled environment over time, ultimately that can work against our pain feeling and help us to get moving again, which ultimately is the point of probably why we're watching this video, right? So that's just an important thing to mention before we get started. All right, so before we get started, we always want to check and see where we are at in terms of a baseline. So how we're going to do that is we are going to just see where our pain is at right now when we get started on a scale of 0 to 10. So 0 is going to be you have no pain. If that's the case, I'm happy for you, but you're probably not watching this video if that's what's happening right now. And then if you're a 10 out of 10, that's the worst pain you've ever felt. If you're feeling that, that's again where I would recommend seeing a trusted health professional, maybe going to an urgent care center if it's that bad. You know, I've just been doing some running, some exercises here in the last little bit. And so my pain's probably at about a 2 or a 3 out of 10 right now. For some of you, it may be a 5 or 6 out of 10, right? It's noticeable, it's causing you some difficulty. So we want to try and work to get that down. So before we get started, we'll say we're at a 6 out of 10 on the pain scale. We're going to check after we're done these exercises again and just see how it went down, how much it went down, and we'll go from there, okay? So when we're doing that, this little baseline test, we can walk around a bit, you know, move our knees, move our hips and our ankles a little bit. We can maybe do some squats or go to the point where maybe we feel a little bit of pain, we go up to that level, in our squat and then back off from it. And we just kind of see where that is. Just take some baseline measurements for yourself. We're gonna put that again in our memory for at the end. We're gonna do some rechecks and see how these exercises helped us. All right, for this exercise, what we are going to be doing is we are going to be targeting the muscles in the back of our leg that often, if they are misfiring or we aren't actively strengthening them, then when they are misfiring, they can cause where they insert in the back of the knee, and even some of the compensation by other muscles for their weakness in the sides of the knee can cause the pain that we're feeling. So when we do this exercise, we are going to be strengthening, activating these big muscles in the back of our leg. They're commonly known as our calf muscles, okay? We are going to be causing them to get stronger, which will hopefully in turn help relieve some of our knee pain. Okay, so for this, we're going to use a chair first to lean up against. We can also use the wall. For this starters, what we're going to do is we're going to get stable on a chair here. And then the motion is we're gonna have our knees bent over top of our toes like this. Then once we can see that they are over top of our toes, we are going to push up as far as we can and down again, just like that. Okay, and all the motion is coming from the back part of our calves here. Okay, so we're gonna go up and back down, up and back down, okay? So we can do 8 to 10 of those exercises. That's one set, okay? Then we can take a rest and we can do a second set of 8 to 10 exercises, and that is the knees over toes calf raise. All right, so the next exercise we're going to do is going to incorporate our vision system. We talked about a little bit about it at the beginning of this video, but what we are doing is we are activating our vision system because one of the components of how our brain processes our stability, our balance, and then in turn paints a picture of how we're doing. And in some cases, if there's a mismatch there, it causes a pain signal to show up in our knees, when in reality, a component of the root cause might be our vision. Okay, so this exercise, what we're going to be doing is we are going to be training our eyes to be able to track where an object is moving. This is known as the letter H object tracking exercise. So what we're going to do is we are going to place a pen in front of us. We are going to keep our eyes focused on the pen while we keep our head straight and upright. Our head is not going to move as best as we can, and we're going to move the pen in an H pattern to the edges of our vision, okay? So you can see my eyes looking here. We are then going to follow the pen with our eyes, keeping our head as straight as we can, keeping it from moving. Once it gets to the edge of our vision where we can't see it anymore, okay? We are then going to go up to the top till we can't see it anymore without moving our heads. Back down that same line all the way down. Our eyes are following it the whole time. Come back up, then all the way back to the center. And then if we want to, we can switch hands. We're gonna go all the way out to the side, up, and down, doing our best to keep our eyes focused on the pen without moving our head. My head has probably moved a little bit here, so we don't want that to happen as best as we can. So we're gonna look just with our eyes, bring it back to center, nice and slow. And that is one exercise, drawing one letter H. So to the side, down, up, back, straight across, down, up, and back, okay? One exercise, do that 4 to 6 times. That's one set. You can take a break, do a second set of 4 to 6 rounds of those, 4 to 6 exercises, and that is the H vision tracking exercise. All right, for this next exercise, what we're going to be doing is we are going to be working some of the muscles that run along the outside of our leg, our upper thigh, that connect in directly to the outside of the knee and kind of the top of the knee in some cases, okay? And what this is doing is often we can have knee pain that occurs either on the top or on the outside, sometimes even on the front. And the reason that's happening is because the muscles that are actually supposed to be helping the knee joint move properly are not activating properly, okay? And these can involve our glutes or our abductor muscles. And abductor is just a way of saying bringing our leg from out and up, kind of out like this, okay? So to help retrain those muscles and to help them start firing properly, we want to do an exercise that targets these muscles specifically. Once they start firing, that then tells the brain that potentially the knee joint is moving more efficiently, better, and that can hopefully help us reduce our pain. So in this example, if we have a right knee that's hurting, we are going to go onto our left side like this. Now this can be on a floor, or on a bed. It doesn't need to be on a chiropractic table or something like what I have, okay? What we're going to do is we are going to make sure that we are on our side. We're not on our back or kind of on our bum, okay? We're going to be on our side, so on the non-hurting side or the non-exercise side, okay? And then what we're going to do is we're just going to lift our leg straight up like that, and then back down, okay? Now, we may feel it kind of in this part or kind of in our lower back, possibly, or even kind of into our bum or our glute muscles, okay? If we feel it working all through here, that's good. If we feel like it's a little bit sore, that's a good sign. That means it's working. So we want to make sure that we're not using our back to lift up and we're not using our arm to push up or do anything. We're literally just trying to isolate movement here in this part of our leg, okay? So we can go kind of 1, 2, 3, nice and slow down, okay? Don't let our leg drop, don't let it flop. Part of the exercise is controlling moving up like this, and then controlling moving it down, okay? So if we're doing that, we're gonna do it again 4 to 6 times. For this purpose of this exercise, especially if we're just trying to find pain relief, we don't wanna add any weight or even have any bands or anything. You may have seen that in other videos, but we want to start super easy. Just the weight of our leg lifting up is probably enough at this point in time. So we'll do 4 to 6 of those. That's 1 set, and then you can take a rest and do 4 to 6 more, second set, and that is the hip abductor exercise. All right, so now that we have finished the exercises, we are going to do a retest or a recheck of our pain compared to where we were at baseline. So we can either get up and walk around, or we can again retest some of the movements we were doing prior to the start of this video, okay? So maybe we can bring our knees up to our chest, or we can bend down into a bit of a squat. We wanna see basically what our pain is now. We also want to see how far we can go down, or any of the movements that we were testing at the start. We want to retest them and see how we're doing. Hopefully your pain went down. My goal for these exercises is obviously to help you find pain relief. If we didn't notice any change, if it's kind of the same, that's okay. What we want to keep in mind is that we are doing exercises that are helping to retrain the brain, the nervous system, and our muscles to fire in a way that is appropriate and proactive and in a strong manner, okay? And sometimes that takes time, okay? So if we had an improvement in pain or a reduction in pain, that's okay. If we had our pain kind of stay the same or not really change all that much, that's also okay. We did some strengthening exercises today. If we found that our pain got worse, we have a couple of options. Obviously, if it got really, really bad, that's where you would want to go see your trusted health professional or go get checked out again by someone local to you in your area. If it got a little bit worse, or you notice kind of some twinging or some tweaking, what I would recommend is taking some time off, maybe take a couple of days away, then retry these exercises. If you notice that, again, it gets worse after that, that's where we probably should stop and go see our trusted health professional. But it might just be taking some time for our body to get used to some new movements that maybe it has been protecting itself against prior to this. I'll leave it to you to figure out what your body is feeling. We want to be in tune with how we're doing. We never want to push through our limits, especially when it comes to pain, but it's also good to get some new movements going and to encourage us to continue moving, because ultimately strength and training our bodies to move in the proper way is critical to long-term health, especially as it pertains to our joints, okay? So hopefully you found this video informative and helpful. If you liked what you saw here or you found some benefit, please feel free to like, share, and subscribe. And if you would like to work with me directly, you can find a link for that down in the description below. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you in the next video, and have a great rest of your day. Thanks.